the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Delphi. Delphi, I don't even know what it is anymore. Hi, you guys. Hi, Amber. Hi, Mez. Hi, Angie, baby. What's up, Marshall? Hey, Julie. Hybrid Pisces. You can reach out via Facebook if you want, or you can email me at criminality187@gmail. Either way. It's weird, though, that you're asking, because I actually was going to say something to you in a chat the other day because I wanted to talk to you, and I was going to see like how I could get a hold of you. So, yeah, please message me. What's up, Delana? Hey, Dom. Salty C. It's a Marshall. Marshall, hey, beautiful people. What's up, Just Deb? Hey, Cool Gamer. Ramblin' Rome. Hey, Freckle Joy. Our bucket list has holes. Thanks for keeping us updated. I don't even know anymore. I'm so just like, what's going on? What's going on here? I'm like, is there like a burnt out pile of like Delphi people? Because like Delphi is just, it doesn't stop every day. Like I'm trying to catch up on other cases that I want to cover, and then nope. Delphi has to come back. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Candace. Unmasked Truth. What happened, Dom? Oh, Dom, I'm so sorry. I'm going to send you my love and prayers. That's tough. That's tough. I'm so sorry to hear that. I know, I just feel like I try to climb out, and it's like, no, you can't leave. Get back here. It's only 6. Yeah, it's getting dark early now that the time changed. Hey, Alley Cat. Dolly Bear. Hey, Jane Lane. I made it. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, T, for sticking this out. I know it's a trying and draining job, but I appreciate you so very much. I appreciate you, too. And somebody sent me, and I don't want to say their name, but somebody sent me a PayPal donation yesterday, and I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't see it until after the live. So if you're here, thank you. And if you are listening later, thank you. Either way, thank you. Was over 3 feet deep. How could RH chase 2 girls through that without getting swept away in the current? He's little. Well, ironically, he's like the same size that they are. Again? Freckle Joy? I only know that he changed it from Wednesday to Thursday. I don't know if there's an again in that. He said that he looked back on it and it was actually Thursday instead of Wednesday that he received the pictures. I still have a whole timeline on that going. I don't even know if you guys are interested in that. I can't stop trying to figure out what the hell's going on with that damn leak. It doesn't sit right with me. I feel like there's something to it. There's something more to it. And I don't know if even me bothering to look into it is there enough information for me to even gather to be able to figure out the flippin' leak? Because I just don't feel, I feel like there's more to it. It's so fishy. It's so fishy. And then the freaking Mark Robert guy, that I don't know. I'm so tired of hearing that guy's a good guy. Maybe he's a great dad, great husband or something, but he's not a good guy when it comes to leaking Delphi shit. Well, Mez, thank you for joining. Hey, JC, Marty. I think the court is behind the. There's. I hate to say one way or the other, but I'm telling you, it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right, and there's like, why do the stories always keep changing? If it is what it is, I mean, if you make a mistake, I get it. Like, I say, hey, today's Friday, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, it's not Friday, and that's just me making a mistake. It's actually Tuesday. I get it. But I don't know why there just can't be some clear cut, like this is what happened and this is when. And if you guys were here yesterday, like we went over Mitch Westerman's affidavit, and that guy doesn't even say when he did it. If you guys notice, if you look at his affidavit, there's no date on there. He doesn't say when he actually went in there and took the pictures. We're hearing August because the attorneys are telling us August. They're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense because that's the pictures we had printed at the time. And I'm like, I don't trust you guys. I don't trust anybody right now. So like somebody needs to tell me something that's actually believable. Yeah, where is Mark? I'm sure he's around under some other account. That's right, Kelt. Secrecy leads to people trying to fill in the blanks, and Delphi is a clear example of that. Hey, Amy. You have worked so hard on this case and many others. I found you on the other channel with Summer. Oh, thank you, Angie, baby. Oh, Dom, you're so sweet. Thank you. There's something with the timing of it, and every time I find any more dates or anything that goes along with it, that's the other thing we read yesterday, was about the October 4th situation. And I'm like, October 4th? Wait a minute. October 4th was Wednesday. So October 4th, the defense team tells Judge Gull and McClellan that they are ready to go to trial in January, and they do not plan on submitting a continuance. And then all of a sudden these pictures are out. And okay, so even if we play devil's advocate, and I don't want to get too far into the leak stuff, like I said, I don't have all the answers. I mean, I put a lot of pieces together, but I don't have all the answers. But we'll play like that Mitch actually went in there in August. Goes in there August, takes the pictures, and so on and so forth, gives them to Robert Fortson. Robert gives them to the two people he supposedly gave them to, whatever. Why October 4th do these pictures start hitting people's emails? Why is that? Why? Like, nobody's suspicious of that timing, and you can't tell me that that has anything to do with the fact that somebody was trying to prove that the memorandum was true. That doesn't make any sense, because then that would have come out at the end, in the September timeframe. October 4th and 5th? Come on. Why are they saying they told the prosecution and the defense, but the defense didn't know until the 6th? God, it's like, just your math ain't mathin'. Hey, Venue. It is, and that's why we get stuck there. And I'm like, okay, in the long run, this is what I have to keep telling myself. Does it actually does it change anything about the course of the case at this moment in time? Probably not. But does it change my opinion of people who I will believe information coming from? Probably. Like, I have to wait on the importance of it, like how much time can I really spend digging into it when there's no way I can access all the information around it. Chris Todd on 12/3/22 received some crime scene photos and additional information from an LE whistleblowers. Yes, he says S. And if you guys want to talk, you guys want to go through the timeline I've got going, we absolutely can, or we can just get into the new documents that came out today. It's really up to you guys. I mean, I'm doing both, so I mean, I can absolutely show you kind of where things are at. So that's because that's another point is if there's multiple leaks, right? There's multiple leaks, then people are saying like these pictures have been out there for months. Well, how do we know that these are the same pictures that have been out there for months? And how do we not know? How do we prove that? Without any of these people deciding to come forward, there's just no way to do so. If nobody wants to say that they've received them or when they received them or how much they received, then I don't see how we can figure it out. Hold on real quick, you guys. Okay, sorry. Hi, WeOB. Good to see you. ATS. Someone is purposely throwing the GF, the leaked timeline, Probably the person who keeps changing his story. What's up, True Crime Fan Girl? Yeah, I did. With Shelly, that's it. Yeah, we were just talking about that. And hi, Shelly. There's no date. He doesn't say when he actually went in there and got the pictures. Like in an affidavit, shouldn't he say, even if he doesn't remember the exact date, like, middle of August or anything. He doesn't go in there. He doesn't put in there at all. What was the date the F tree was shown by McDonald? Oh, the date of, well, that's a good question. Let's look at it. Wasn't I just playing it yesterday? Did I play it yesterday? I can't even remember anymore, you guys. It's like so ridiculous. Squirt TV, Barbara. I'm almost positive. One. Let me see. Yeah, it's the one that Gray Hughes was on, right? Yeah, so it's this one. Let me pull it over here. Hi, MJ. I don't have Patreon. I just have YouTube memberships. Okay, Dom, go eat some dinner. Well, I think that Mitch hired an attorney, and so I think Mitch is in hiding too. Yeah, Mitch should talk, but he's not going to. He's not going to talk. He ain't going to say anything. And that's the other thing. So the affidavit that he signs doesn't actually say when he went in there and took the pictures, and it doesn't actually say who he disseminated them to. Like two important points I would think that they would want to know, right? Especially if they're going to go out into the world and try to contain this leak and make sure that everybody's deleted them, because it's gross negligence. It's so gross and it's so negligent that people just get a phone call on the phone like, hey, make sure you delete those pictures. Nobody goes and makes sure that they haven't been shared. Nobody's devices are being taken. I mean, we're just going to throw the Sixth Amendment out the window for this gross negligence. So why is nobody following up on who actually still has the photos or who all they sent them to? Well, Mitch hired a lawyer, and then apparently that lawyer was going to refer him to other counsel. Hey, Cats and Crimes, I can tell you for a fact that 99.9% that they all had the pics and held them for a while before going public. They were pre-defending Mark in about 4 or 5 channels as far back as 10 days prior to the leak. See, if you have anything that, I mean, not that I don't trust you, Cats and Crimes, but I don't know you. I don't even know your name. So I'm just saying, like, if you have any streams or anything like that that point in that direction, I'd love to add them to my timeline. Hey, spread love, not hate. Hey, Georgia. So the clothing pictures. Okay, so let me pull up these couple of things. We'll dig into this just a little bit. We'll dig into it a little bit in the timeline, and you guys can see if you can help me fill in some of the things that I might be missing. But let me pull up this other one really quick. So I have the one, but I need the other. Let's It's this one. Pull it over here too. I have it. I have it. It's right here. I'm just gonna. I just had to pull it up so I could share it with you. This is the one that ATS and I have been trying to decipher this whole timeline. And this is at like 7 minutes. But you have to pay special attention to the wording here. So this interview is from December 3rd. You get to this spot. Okay, first of all, can you guys hear it? Did I share sound? Because I only had a document up. I may not have. Somebody tell me that you can or can't hear it so I can fix it. I don't understand why these 3 guys meddled so much. Not like they were going to get rewards. During a drama for the sake of drama only hurts the case. Yeah, and you would think that this Mitch guy would know better. I just don't get it. I just don't get that part. Like, he's just okay going into his longtime friend's office and taking crime scene photos and sending them around. You know, and like I said, I keep hearing over and over again, no, crime scene photos have been out for a long time. And I tried to break this down on a different live that I did, that there's different sets of crime scene photos. So to be able to prove that this particular leak, that they have been out for a long time, that's why I'm like, I don't even know if that's something that we can do. If we can, I'm absolutely on board to do it. But I keep just trying to put the timeline together because I'm like, something's going to have to fit here to make this make sense. You cannot hear it. Okay, let me take this down. I'm like, I only shared a document, so I probably didn't even share sound. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not the truth. Ain't that right, Shelly? All right, we'll do this again. I think it's like right here. Okay, so this is Chris Todd is up here in the corner. He wrote a book. He was a firm believer, probably still is, I'm not sure, a firm believer that Ron Logan is bridge guy and that that's who they should be looking at. So we have to listen to his wording. The new defense team is agreeing with the old defense team is what we're hearing from our sources. So I was doing, when they first, put these 2 guys on, I was digging around and doing looking for some information on their history and what they've done and where they're from. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold off on talking about any of that because we don't know that these guys, one, aren't on board with the fact that Richard Allen should have the other guys as their attorneys. So do I want to go in there and start trying to dig around and see what there is? We don't know. These guys aren't bad guys. I mean, they haven't done anything yet. It's not like they went in there and just took a plea deal and then they bounced. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give them a chance. If they end up being the attorneys, we've got to hope that they're going to do the right thing. Hi, Heather. Okay, Shelly. So Chris Todd got his photos from a family member, and he thought it was to help the case along, but now regrets it. So I have issues about this. So, because here's another thing I keep hearing, is that one of the searchers actually took photos of the girls. And those photos are what was sent out at the end of last year. I don't know if I believe that. Nobody can prove it to me. So is it possible? Yes, but I need more than that. I have no proof as far as screenshots and stuff, but I remember hearing it on multiple channels. I'd rather shoot an email and tell you privately just because I'm not on anyone's side, but people be tripping. Yeah, shoot me an email. It's criminality187@gmail. Even just point me in the direction of the streams. I'll pull the clips myself. Because like I said, I'm just trying to piece together the timeline of when you can somewhat hear when people are talking, like what they're saying. Like, And like I said, okay, we'll do it. We'll talk about it after we listen to this clip with Chris Todd. Hey, Mind of Monsters. I appreciate that. Okay, so hold on, let me back it up just a little. So he has a delay.
What City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen, you know him well, and in Atlanta, Georgia, assistant chief jailer, former chief of the major crime section, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee III. Great to have everyone here tonight. Chris, let me start with you. This crime scene. You've seen pictures. What describe what you've seen? Take us there. Take me, everyone watching tonight, to that scene, and describe for us what is where and the significance of these locations. Chris?
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me today. Honored to be here. I just got the crime scene photos. I just received these within probably 48 hours. So it's all brand new.
Okay, so this is airing on December 3rd. He says he just got them within 48 hours. So he's saying he got them basically December 1st-ish. This is Chris Todd. He wrote a book called Forest for the Trees, I believe is what it's called. It's about how he believes that Ron Logan is guilty. I don't know what his job title technically is. I know that he's done a lot of work like on the O.J. Simpson case. I'm not overly familiar with him, so I don't really want to speak too much on him because I don't know much. And then he states that he went to Delphi to try to help, figure out what was going on. He figured out that in his opinion, it was Ron Logan. And then when nobody really wanted to kind of buy that, or they were over it, or like they'd already moved past Ron Logan, he decided to bounce and went back to doing his own thing. And then so he's not biased. No, he's biased. Definitely biased. But when the Ron Logan search warrant got released, he came back into the picture and was like, "Come on, you guys! Like, you have to see this." And I don't mean to put words in his mouth. I'm just trying to sum it up as quick as I can. So he's saying this is December 3rd. Yeah, December 3rd, 2022.
I'm still processing what to make of it. It's a little sad, and it's going to be emotional for the families, for the public to see these. And I am going to bring them forward. And I guess we may not show them today, and that's okay. But these are the articles of clothing that were found in the creek.
When you talk about articles of clothing,
I meant to hit the pause button and turn my camera off instead. So he says these are the pictures of the clothing found in the creek. So this is where ATS and I were going back and forth and trying to figure out, is there something in here that he's actually saying? Because he specifically says right there, these are the pictures of the clothes in the creek. But you have to keep listening. Like ATS told me, you got to keep listening because he says other things too. I have a timeline. I have it written.
Does this suggest that there may have been some sort of sexual aspect to what happened to these young girls based upon the clothing that you saw in these photos?
I can comment a lot more even about the actual murders themselves. We can wait for that if you'd like, through the Leo whistleblowers that we have. I do know a lot about the murders themselves.
Let it fly. Okay. Let it fly, sure. Chris.
So
let it fly.
From the clothes, yes, it indicates. Okay. Yes, there was a sexual assault for both victims, and there's some creepy posing and staging that occurred.
Okay, so here's where you have to. This is where she's like, no, you have to keep listening, Teresa. So I listened to ATS because she knows what she's talking about. So he says that there was only some clothing. That's what the pictures were, right? But then he's talking about the staging and the posing. So that's interesting because you don't see staging and posing in the pictures. So is he combining two different stories that he was told, and he's combining the staging and the posing with the pictures? Or he's like, ATS is like, no, like, is he saying like he has more pictures? Because why would the clothes in the water be like, he talks about like how hard it would be on the family that these photos are there. And it's just, I mean, maybe it is, maybe the clothes are hard. But now, see, boss lady, because, and that's another thing, we don't know that one way or the other, but from everything we've been told so far, there was no SA. There has been a lot of commentary on this being a sexually motivated crime, which is not uncommon when it comes to stabbings. Ironically, I know it's like the weirdest thing, but there's something to that makes it the more personal, and then there's the element of the, and I hate saying this in this context, but I'm just going to do it. There's the element of the penetration of the knife that is satisfying to these crazy people. And so that's why it becomes like a sexually motivated crime, but it's not necessarily, that there's actual, sexual violence. Okay, so let me go up and see what you guys just, Laura. I mean, it's tough because I'm going to show you in the timeline. He obviously knows something about this. He's talking about the pictures of the clothes in the water. At this point, those pictures of the clothes in the water had not been released to anybody yet. They didn't come out yet. Right. Could have cut, like, so that's what I'm saying. Is he mixing the two things, or does he have other photos that he's not talking about? Okay, I'm going to go back and play it because I know a lot of people just popped in. I'm going to play it one more time so you guys can kind of hear through it too. And just like I said, pay attention to the little words that he uses. And he wasn't done, so we'll keep going.
Sad, and it's
where and the significance of these locations. Everyone here tonight. Chris, let me start with you. This crime scene. You've seen pictures. What? Describe what you've seen. Take us there. Take me, everyone watching tonight, to that scene, and describe for us what is where and the significance of these locations. Chris?
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me
Gotcha.
today. Honored to be here. I just got the crime scene photos. I just received these within probably 48 hours. So it's all brand new. I'm still processing what to make of it. It's a little sad, and it's going to be emotional for the families, for the public to see these. And I am going to bring them forward. And I guess we may not show them today, and that's okay. But these are the articles of clothing that were found in the creek.
When you talk about articles of clothing, does this suggest that there may have been some sort of sexual aspect?
Okay. Oh, for both victims, and there's some creepy posing and staging that occurred. But just to answer the first question is yes, the clothes in the photos, there's 3 of them. I have 3 photos. And these clothes do indicate that they prove that one of the girls was nude for sure at that moment. And I do believe through the investigation that both girls were nude at one time.
Jason Jensen, this is, the more we learn about the scene, the more troubling it becomes. What does this information tell you about what may have happened to Abby and Libby as we start to try to unwind this gruesome crime scene?
Right, Vinny, it's very horrifying to really to put yourself in their shoes. They must have been just terrified.
Okay, I don't think we need to listen to any more of that one. So that's what I'm saying. It goes, you can take it either way. In my opinion, I was thinking that he's talking about that he has the clothing photos. Now, let me pull up really quick. Let me pull up one more thing before we go to the next one. in my opinion, he's talking about the clothing photos. And then I think that what he's saying is that he's heard more about the crime scene, which leads to what many people are thinking right now, that these photos are coming from the family / people who searched, which somewhat lines up with this information. So I'm not going to play this whole thing.
I don't.
But I want you guys to see. I just want you guys to go with the timeline with me. So that was December 3rd, right? He's got the crime scene photos. The clothing crime scene photos is what he's saying. Could he have more? Yes. Could he have just heard more from the family members? Yes. We don't know that yet. So Gavin Fish, if you guys aren't familiar with his channel, so he got the photos. Okay, can you guys hear me yet? Anything good? I left and came back. Can you hear me now? It's me. It's me. You can hear me. Yay! Okay. Hey, Art of Deduction. Okay, I'm gonna leave my camera off. I literally closed like everything I had going, and then we're gonna start from there. That was weird. That was weird. They're like, no, you cannot talk about this timeline. Bad, Teresa. Okay. Let's try this again. Now I have an echo. Hi, Seth. Tell me I don't have an echo. Hey, ASMR. What's up, Spicy? Okay. Do I have an echo? Don't be laughing at me, Lester. Okay, no echo. Perfect. Hi, BR. Okay. They posted something yesterday, I believe, Shelly. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. Okay, so you guys, we're back here. So he is now talking about the photos. He receives them. He says, I have in my possession, which are purported to be leaked photos of the Delphi crime scene where Abby and Libby were found. They weren't taken by law enforcement. They were taken by civilians who found the girls' bodies. Let's find out together if they're legit or not. Okay, so you have to take this with a grain of salt. He literally will say, and like I said, I'm not going to play his videos. I don't know Gavin, so I don't know if he's going to be like, don't be playing my stuff or whatever. But he has two videos. He has the one where he shows the pictures, and then he gets a whole bunch of really bad feedback about showing the pictures. So he does another live stream discussing why he chose to show them. But he's essentially saying that he got them, doesn't know really where they came from, and has no proof of that they are like legit. So he's essentially saying he wants to figure out if they're legit himself. And let me see if I can find it on here. I don't want to try to open too much stuff because then you guys will end up circling again. So he also has a website where he talks about it. And on here is where he puts the photos, and whoever sent them to him also sent him the metadata that goes along with it. So it shows, and I've shown these before, it shows the information for each photo. Can I go next? Yeah, I can. Okay. So this is where we talked about that the timing of the photos was actually like 11:14, I believe it was. So then you have the next photo, so on and so forth. So he puts them there. He puts on here, the following photos were sent to me anonymously and purport to have been taken with a smartphone by civilians prior to the arrival of authorities shortly after the discovery of the bodies of Abby and Libby. I have not confirmed their authenticity. I have watermarked them, not in an effort to claim any type of ownership, but to provide a source when they inevitably circulate around the internet so responsible sleuths and amateur detectives can learn of their provenance. Okay? So he has all of this, and whoever gave them to him says they were not from law enforcement, that they were from art of deduction. I showed them to Jay Kyle, and he said it looked like crime scene photos. Okay, so that's actually interesting. I should reach out to. This is one of the questions I have for him. And did you ask this art of deduction? Did you ask him because he said many people are saying that he is the one who took these photos? I was under the impression that this was John Jake's person or Erskine that took the photos. Okay, okay. Well, this is getting more interesting. So he sent you, did he send you, what did he send you? Did he send you all of this? Did he send you just the 3 pictures? Did he send you more pictures that are not on here? He would never share photos, no way. Well, so then, okay, so J. Kyle Keener is a photographer. I'll show you his pictures. You guys, I know you've seen them. You just might not know that they're his. He's a photographer, and he got a lot of heat for posting on his personal Facebook account at the time, because he was out there photographing for the Pharaoh's Tribune, is who he worked for at the time. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you his pictures. I know you guys have seen these. You probably just don't know that they're actually his. So like this photo in particular, the photo of the guy is on the bridge. Let me see what else, if they're down here. Nope, they're probably all up here then. Like these photos, they've been floating around forever. And you guys, like I said, you guys have, oh, Seth. Just because. Thank you, Seth. I would not want the photos or to see them. I don't think I could sleep at night seeing them. And I've had my family send autopsies to me with photos, but not underage girls. Aw. It is. I mean, I see it from both sides. Like I get the don't want pictures out there in the world. They don't. I don't know. I don't know if it's just from having so much loss in my own life that, I mean, they don't affect me as much. I don't have. I just, and I'm not going to try to get too religious here, but I do believe that these are the bodies. Their souls are not there. Whomever the crime scene pictures are of, that person is not there anymore. They're not. They're in heaven. They've moved on. They're not there. You're not looking at them anymore. You're looking at what was protecting their soul on the outside. That's Liggett. I was trying to figure out. So those are the 2 main ones I know you guys have probably seen a lot of. This one right here, and then this one right here. Those are out there all the time. But if you didn't know, they're actually from J. Kyle Keener. So there was a photo that he supposedly posted onto his Facebook. I don't have that photo, so I don't know what the validity or the truthfulness behind how much you could see, but he supposedly had posted a photo on his own Facebook where you could actually see the crime scene in the background. It's definitely not these 2, because you can't see the crime scene in the background on these 2. So I don't know if one of them's cropped. I don't know. So. Liggett is most likely also an Odinite. That would be very interesting if that was something that we could actually prove. That one. Who is he? This guy? I think he's just a worker. I don't know. I have no idea. If anybody knows who this guy is, I have no idea who he is. Let me see. Okay, I'll check it out. RF wrote something like, now he knows why that guy who found them needed counseling. Oh, really, Kel? Did he? Yeah, he was present at the key. He also took photos and was in a helicopter that morning. Yes. The guy walking in overalls. Yeah, you were talking about this guy. I don't know who that guy is. Oh, Shelly, that'd be great. Thank you. Google the name. Yeah, Delphi. So yeah, he has, but like the two most popular ones that I think are like in any single Facebook group or whatnot are those two. Jay Kalkiner is a photographer who was working for the Pharos Tribune, local newspaper at the time. Yep. Isn't there stuff hidden in that pic? Well, some people say there is. I don't believe there's anything hidden in that pic. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't see anything in that pic. We don't even know where that's exactly taken at for there to know if there would be anything in that pic. Okay. So you guys, like I said, most of you guys have seen that picture. And this is him for all intents and purposes. This is J. Kyle Keener right there. Okay, so we're going to go back to these. So this is my opinion, and I think that these are the photos that Chris Todd was saying that he had. I think that he's saying that he knows more because he talked to the family and who saw the girls, and that's how he knows more about the crime scene. But I could also see that some of the things he's saying could lend to it being factual, that he does have more photos, but I can't say that for sure. This is what I think he has, and I think that he is probably the person who sent them to Gavin Fish, or in that chain of that leak. So this is tough because this is where I think a lot of the stuff for the crime scene photos have been out for a year. I don't know. But then we have Mark Robert, who posted these pictures without Gavin's watermark. So they were out there without the watermark as well. But how did Mark Robert come into them? And this is why I say I have, he also sent me the one of the F tree. Who, Chris Todd did? Or Mark Robert did? Let me pull my email real quick. I tried to close everything out so that I didn't buffer for you guys. But let me see. Maybe you said it in here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so J. Kyle Keener saying he did not take these photos. Is that what I'm understanding? Art of deduction? Is that correct? I'm behind on a lot of this, but Richard Allen is now part of a cult. Yes, where have you been? You've missed it. Apparently. Yeah, who knows? I mean, I don't even. Some people believe that there's like a cult. I don't even know if it would be called a cult at this time, because now we know that if it is Odinism, it's actually recognized by the Supreme Court as a religion in the prison system. But then you have the white nationalists side of the whole thing that kind of makes it a cult. So it's very confusing. It's you gotta use your imagination, take all the craziest shit you've ever heard, mix it together, and then that's what it is. Because you also have biker gangs. Yeah, take the biker gangs, the religious aspect, and I just take all of it, just throw it in the pot, and then whatever you come out with is what ends up being this. Yeah, a club, a cult, a gang, whatever you want it to be. A religion. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. It just a prison gang more. It's a prison gang more than religion, except for now that it's actually recognized as a religion. So it's like, yeah, I agree with you, C. King, though. It really is. But it's, or you could be like the prison guards and say that it's Norse paganism. It is not Odinism, it's Norse paganism, but could be interpreted as Odinism. And then the Vinlanders and the Sons of Odin are biker gangs that actually practice the Odinism or Norse paganism. It's like a circle jerk. Oh, yes. Thank you. I did get it. You truly can't make this shit up. I know. I can't. Like, even as far out as I want to go, that's it. Oh, yeah. You got some witchery in there. Some sorcery. Well, I think that they probably only know because it like says in Odin we trust. So they probably look it up and they're like, wait a minute, what's that? Okay, I got to go back and see art of deduction, what you actually said, though, when I asked you that question, because then I was talking all kinds of other... The Lollipop Guild Celt. Yep, you got to add that one in there, too. Art of deduction, did you say that Chris Todd sent you the tree? So I don't have to scroll all the way back up. Yeah, and an MC Club, the Sons of Odin. So it's like, I guess you get to pick. Oh, we forgot the best part, though, because then you also have to throw in Marvel. Because you've got Thor, and you've got Loki, and then you've got Steve Rogers. Would that make... It could make you a wizard. If you want to be a wizard, I think it would make you a wizard. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so... And do you have... What date... Do you have a date? A date that these were sent? Hey, Jordan. Long time no see. Good to see you. Welcome to Crazy. Wait, welcome to the Crazy Land. The police kept info about the crime scene and cause of death secret because of it was unusual or ritualistic. Now the cops are like, nope, just some little man. Just some little man, just some little guy. He can't be Steve Rogers, Thor, or any of those guys. So, and I'm going to go off. Spider-Man, no Spider-Man. You know, he's not allowed yet. He probably hasn't come around. It's probably not. We're not to that episode. Just wait. What's up, Mom? Where was I just going with that? Shit. I lost it. Alligator, that must be an Indiana thing with Patch, the prison I work in at Wisconsin would never allow it. Never. I had never heard of anybody being able to wear patches. I don't think and I don't think it's even just about the patches. I don't think you're allowed to be affiliated with any type of thing. And it's been a long time since I've been around people who worked in the prison system where I would be able to like clarify that. But I don't think you could wear anything that even like you couldn't, that would bias you towards anybody. It was like it was a regulated uniform. Everybody had the exact same thing. What's up, Stella? BH. Yep, BH, aka Steve Rogers. Okay, so now this is going to bring me to the next thing that I'm going to talk about. And I am not, like I've told you guys 100 times, I am not overly familiar with all the people who have covered Delphi for a really long time. I have been going back to some that have been recommended to me, or some that I had kind of heard of. So this was one that I came across, and you guys, knowing Delphi as well as you do, probably know exactly who this is. But I did not. So let me see if I can find it now. You know what? I probably have it in here. It's probably easier to go this way, where I saved it. Uno momento. I'm here. I'm not buffering or anything, I don't think. Just trying to find this video. The easiest way that where I stuck it. Hopefully it's still there. Yes, this one. Okay, so this is the Captain Howdy. He actually has a great sense of humor. I find him to be quite entertaining. Now let me find the timestamp that he talks about this. So this video is from August 12th of 2022.
Against a child killer. And I can think of 250,000 reasons for them to have done exactly that. But there's also another reason I don't think Ron Logan's search warrant, which plainly visible until you actually visit the creek itself, murders. But that brings us back to a point that I made before. Liberty German was 200 pounds.
In the city,
incredibly difficult terrain. However, maybe there's more to this than so apparently confessed.
Somebody actually knows what I'm looking for here.
I don't think.
Tell me a timestamp, because I didn't realize it was this long. And I thought that I'd be able to find it very easy. Oh, I think it's right here. Can one of my mods make sure you guys share Captain Howdy's channel too?
some would call it a great cost.
Searcher does rumor that's persisted for years.
Thank you. Joins us live now from
Literally everywhere
Right
to
here.
see if there were any other sources that alluded to the vehicle having been left at the CPS building, but I haven't found much. So obviously it's just a rumor, but it is an interesting one because if the killer didn't leave directly after the murder,
the left here along Country Road 300.
Pacific, the letter F. Now I've heard that it was years in this case
Okay,
that
here.
the killer left some kind of a mark or a letter at the scene. In specific, the letter F. Now I've heard that it was a backwards F at times, almost like a rune, and at other times I've heard it was just a normal F. And I've also heard that police were unsure if this mark that was supposedly left on a tree was intentional or if it was just the killer wiping blood off of himself. However, much like the other rumors.
Okay, so right there, I had heard for a long time that there was something on the tree. I always was told that it was carved, that there was something carved into the tree and something, and I think I've said this to you guys before, something carved into the tree, something carved into one of the girls. And it was letters, F, K. Are you blocked, Digital? No, you're right there. I see you. Did I miss your comments? I'm sorry, honey. Olivia, thank you. That was very kind of you. Gifted 5 memberships. Yeah, the captain, but then not to be confused with. I'm learning not to be confused with the captain from the garage, from True Crime Garage. This is Captain Howdy. If you guys aren't familiar with him, I actually have been really enjoying his channel, so you guys should check it out. So, but I'd always heard there was something carved. This is the first time I'd ever heard anybody say that it was blood. And he doesn't necessarily say that it is blood, but what he said, if you hear what he says, not sure if somebody wiped their hand off with blood or that had blood on it. This is from August of 2022, Amy. It's a lot to catch up on, Kel. It's a lot.
In specific, the letter F. Now I've heard that it was a backwards F at times, almost like a rune, and at other times I've heard it was just a normal F. And I've also heard that police were unsure if this mark that was supposedly left on a tree was intentional or if it was just the killer wiping blood off of himself. However, much like the other rumors mentioned in this video, this one has persisted and stuck around behind the scenes for a long time.
So he knew that there was something to do with the blood back in August of 2022. I had never heard that. I've obviously not been, this hasn't been something I've looked at every single day until recently, obviously either. So I thought that was quite interesting. So back in August of 2022, Captain Howdy knew that there was blood on the tree and that whatever letter was written, specifically possibly an F. What happened to my name? It changed color. JC Marty, you got gifted a membership. Yeah, so this video, August 12th of 2022. You're subbed to him? Okay, good, yeah. apparently he took a break and just came back. Like I said, I don't know. I didn't know that, but there was no gag order yet. The gag order wasn't actually issued until, I believe, December of 2022. Richard Allen wasn't arrested until October, the end of October. So, but I mean, still, this whole keeping thing, it's tough because, yes, does it go against the court? No, because there was no gag order. But it's really interesting that the cops want to keep things so close to the vest, but yet, even if Chris Todd only had the pictures from the family, he says that they have LEO whistleblowers, multiple, that there's multiple whistleblowers, according to Chris Todd. Now, believe it, don't believe it, it is kind of is what it is. Oh, well, that's also very interesting then. Oh, you know, people talk, yeah. And the gag order is for talking to the media. Well, media would include somebody who's writing a book. That would be somebody who I would think would be considered in the media, right? You can't be telling that person anything. Or how about somebody who's creating a podcast? Because that's where we're going next. So you've got August, the tree.
To be
I mean,
forced to strip down their clothes.
leaks, many leaks, but, or many drips, whatever you want to call it. And then we go to recently, where September 19th of 2023, we have Barbara McDonald that is on Court TV. And she is discussing how these were sent to her a long time ago. These aren't something that she just got. She's had these. Nobody could have done a good job at writing an F, or nobody could have done that mess on purpose. And it is interesting because if people don't know that it's supposed to be an F and you show it to them, like I showed my husband and he's like, that actually looks like a swastika that didn't get finished. He didn't think an F at all. He thought a swastika. So I'm like, great. Now here, send me down a whole nother rabbit hole. Okay, so.
With her arms placed on her chest, Abby's left hand and arm near the left side of her face, right hand and arm near the right side of her face.
Correct, Seeking.
Okay, there, a little bit of interpretation, however you interpret that. That's how we are, but it could be different, but it's something like that, I would think. Abby's left leg was straight while her right leg was bent at the knee. Her bent right leg was under her left leg. 3 tree branches were placed on top of Abby in the shape of an asterisk. Above Abby's head, smaller sticks placed over her hair, crudely mimicking horns or antlers. So again, looking at this, we put that together based upon the description I read to you. Now, what I read to you is directly from the papers filed by the defense. So this is what they are alleging the evidence says, based upon information they've gotten from investigators and the prosecution. So let's talk some more about this. Joining us right now in studio, co-host and producer of Down the Hill, the Delphi Murders podcast, and Court TV senior writer Barbara McDonald.
So podcast
is with us. Barbara, let's start here, okay? You've seen different depictions of those stick formations that everyone's talking about now, these stick formations on the 2 girls. What have you seen? And let's begin with Abby.
All right, so I have been hearing about these stick formations and this image on the tree for a very long time, and very different characterizations than what's in this memorandum. Sources close to the investigation have provided me with drawings of what they say those images look like, the arrangement of those sticks. So let's start with the one of Abby.
Sources close to the investigation. Sources close to the investigation for a very long time. For a very long time.
Those 3 sticks. Now, we have not placed her body here because is how it was provided to me. We don't know exactly what the positioning on top of her was like, but this is supposed to be a representation of what the image looked like, the way the sticks were formed. Now let's put up the image from Libby. And there's 5 sticks involved here by my count. And you can look at these and decide if they look like something to you or look like they're randomly placed. I have spoken to many investigators who were on the scene at the time who say the assumption was they were randomly placed. They did not see a pattern. They didn't see intentionality there. The other interesting...
Okay, so let's discuss this. She literally says that she's had him for a long time, people close to the investigation, so she's got her own set of whistleblowers. But isn't it interesting that that set of whistleblowers told her that they did not think anything of it? They didn't think anything of it. No big deal. Just randomly placed there, so on and so forth. But according to the Franks memorandum, you had, and I mean, I think that I shouldn't say according to the Franks memorandum, because I think that there is evidence that backs it up on their evidence list. But if you go back, they talked to a professor at Purdue University because they thought it supposedly represented something and they wanted to see what it could have potentially represented. And it got ruled out. So how did they tell her, nope, we were there, we didn't see, it didn't look like anything, and we're good, no worries, but yet we're going to go talk to the Purdue professor anyway. So tell me that there was even a Purdue professor to begin with. And they didn't just go randomly find one when the memorandum came out. Because that's what I'm really starting to think. I'm starting to think there was never a Purdue professor to begin with. That's why there's no reports, there's no nada. He was only a detective for a year back then, but wasn't he the only one in that area that was actually certified as like a crime scene specialist? Well, there's a lot of people that are, because what they're trying to do is they want the information to keep flowing. If you have a source that's that close to the investigation, you have no choice when you're in the public to go out there and spin the narrative that they're giving you. If you go out there and go against what they've told you, guess what happens? You don't get any more information. I have a timeline, Kim. Okay.
Interesting thing about these sticks, they did not collect them when they collected evidence from the crime scene.
Whoa, slow down.
They
Sticks are placed on the bodies
Yes.
of the 2 victims here, and they're not collected as evidence?
They were not collected as evidence until several weeks later, conceivably when this Odinism stuff started to arise within the investigation, and they went back to try to collect those sticks. Now, the other thing we have an image of is what was depicted on the tree. And it's described in this memorandum as being the letter F, a rune painted in blood.
Blood, right?
That was tested according to the memo. It's Libby's blood,
okay.
According to the memo.
That's what the defense is saying.
Yes. I have not heard that part of it from my sources, but I was given a rendering of what the blood on the tree or whatever the substance on the tree appeared to be. And
that's what we're looking at right now.
This is more accurate. Several of the investigators told me they thought that it was a perhaps partial handprint of the person who committed the crime, leaned up against the tree, and that's how it was placed.
Isn't it interesting that they've got an explanation for how they see it, but they can't prove it, so they just go around and just say, well, you can't say what it is because I've already said that it has to be this, even though I have no way of telling you that. I can't prove that's a handprint any more than they can prove that's a damn F. You know what I mean? See how she didn't say yes or no, just said this is more accurate. Yeah, more accurate. Well, she, according to her sources, that's what I'm saying. She has to put that out there. Otherwise, she doesn't get more info. That's just how it goes. And anybody who's had these quote unquote sources close to anything, family members, whatever, you all know if you stop putting out the narrative that they're giving you and you change it or you add to it because you're your own individual person, that you're done. So so you can start to see the people who are putting out the specific narratives and that they're talking to the same people because they're almost repeating it verbatim. Yeah, the professor just patted them on the back and was like, maybe, maybe not. But he ends up, but the professor doesn't actually even come around until September. All right, let me see what you guys got. Time to FOIA request emails from Ellie to and from Barbara McDonald, right? Yeah, brings views to the mainstream. Yeah, but verbatim. Deposition recordings of interviews of experts. Yep. Leaks came from the inside to create a narrative. So, and I think that's what they're going to try to get around is like, oh, but this was all before the gag order, and so it doesn't matter. But why is giving Barbara McDonald inside information or a murder sheet inside information or me, whomever, giving us this inside information? How is it helping to solve the case? Does Barbara McDonald going to go out and interview people and ask them specific questions? Is she an investigator now? Is the murder sheet investigators now? Because I mean, look at how close they are to this now. They're literally part of an investigation versus covering it. I mean, that I would think that'd be like journalism 101. You can't be part of the investigation that you're trying to cover as a journalist. So there's something wrong with the fact that why even give them this? Unless it's just a power thing, like I know this, and so you're going to want to keep talking to me and you're going to want to feed my narrative to the public because I'm giving you this juicy information that nobody else has. So they didn't give her the information for the podcast. They didn't give her the information for the HLN Down the Hill special because we'd never heard it before, right? So what was giving Barbara McDonald that information going to do to help the investigation? Nothing. So why say you're keeping your shit close to the vest, but you're out here just leaking stuff, leakety leak all over the place? And you can't be an investigative journalist if you've already picked a side. They have a really good clerk. I think they have a really good relationship with a law enforcement agent. That's what I think. He has the hots for Barbara. It gets the info they want to the public out. Yep. So in order to do that, you have to give them something that they don't already know. Otherwise, why is anybody going to spin your narrative? If I want you to go out there and I want you to spin my narrative, I have to give you something to do that. If I'm not paying you to do it, I have to give you some type of inside information that you're the only one that has, so you feel special. You feel special. You feel like I like you. You feel like you're my favorite, so here it is. Night, Seth. Thank you. Is she still, though? I wonder. In my opinion, a Purdue professor is not going to lie to the cops and risk his hard-earned career. I think the cops lost info, then found him when the truth was coming out. If you notice that in the interview that happens this year with the Purdue professor, they don't ever talk to him like, do you remember back in 2017, or do you recall when we presented you with XYZ? There's no conversation with this professor that leads back to 2017. It's like he's brand new. It's like they just reached out to him because they said they did or some bullshit, and now they needed a Purdue professor because they already said they had one, and now the defense team wanted a Purdue professor. Journalism school taught us no sides. If you showed any kind of side, you were critiqued harshly. That was before true journalism died. Hey, Johnny. Criminality in chat, I don't think you know the investigators on the case. It could be anyone. Oh, yeah. They're all investigators. Right. So I think some were. Okay. So I already played the other stuff that we have from Murder Sheet, and if you guys, I don't know if you guys want to go through that again, or if you guys want to get to the Amicus, because I mean that we have the timeline from where Snay said that he got them Wednesday night. We have Murder Sheet who says they got them Thursday morning, early hours. They woke up, at sunrise. They hardly slept. They got up at sunrise. They contacted law enforcement and the defense team and let them know that there was a leak. And then we have Snay saying that he talked to Murder Sheet on Thursday night, and that they, had sent him an email. So he ended up calling him when he was at work, and he said, hey, they were like, there's a leak happening. And he's like, I know, I got the info. I got the pictures too. And they made the pact that they weren't going to essentially tell anybody. And then the next morning he gets a message from a Facebook admin named Rebecca who says, hey, I hear you got the photos. He doesn't know how she would have even known that he got the photos because he only told Kevin and Anya. And then, so Friday night, he puts out the post on YouTube community where he says, I know you guys know that I've got the photos, this, that, and the other. And then so that's the 6th now, 4, 5, 6. And then Saturday, he does the elephant in the room live where he discusses having the photos. Yes. So Snake changed it from Wednesday to Thursday. And when you work overnights, I can see how that becomes kind of an issue. But Criminal Greeno said he was the 3rd unrelated party that turned MS and Rick into that investigation. I don't know if I believe that. And he could be a source that told law enforcement, because from what Greeno said, he contacted ISP. The 3rd source that's referenced in those emails is a source that contacted the defense team. He said he contacted ISP. If that's changed now, I don't know what to tell you. But the 3rd party that's talked about in the emails is somebody who contacted the defense team directly. And what they contacted the defense team with on the 6th was Rick Snace's YouTube post saying, hey, there's somebody out here saying they've got crime scene photos. So we've kind of gone through that whole thing, and then we know that, everything kind of spread out from that. I've heard that it was sent to 27 people in a mass email. I've heard it was sent to 57 people in a mass email. I don't know if any of those are true because nobody has shown me anything that has 57 email addresses on it, so I can't say one way or the other. That's still just pure conjecture at this point. So then, I'm sure most of you guys are probably familiar, but there's a channel called Crime Night with Joe Lewis, who put out a screenshot yesterday that stated it was back in September of 2022 that Mark Robert already was talking and discussing things about the discovery and what he had. So that's interesting too, but there was no date on the screenshot. I did ask in the chat if he would be able to provide one with a date, but he wasn't paying any attention to his chat. So, but there is that screenshot. So take that for what you want. And then you have the December leak of the email leak, which I think at this point, I think almost everybody's in agreement that is a completely separate issue, where Baldwin accidentally put Brandon Woodhouse's email address in, and that got sent. I don't think that ties into anything. Okay, do it. Barbara is an insider with all the LEOs because she spins the narrative. Exactly. I mean, there's almost a point, like, how much do you fault somebody for doing it when they're the one, they want the information? And so, like, it's kind of like it's a quid pro quo. So I don't know. Which one's the real problem? The prop is real. The FBI behavioral unit believed it was a ritualistic scene. 4 other detectives on that angle too. Yep. They were all removed from the case. Yep. 100% agree. And you have Robert Ives, who was the head prosecutor of Carroll County when the girls were killed. He left at the end of 2017, and he's done a few interviews, and I've been clipping those for the video for you guys. But he talks about that they're non-secular items. Right. So maybe did he say, no, I'm almost positive he said September of last year, that there was, well, evidence or some type of pieces of evidence or something along the lines that, that Mike Thomas was putting out. And I don't know, I don't want to show his screenshots, but I'm curious if we can get a time on that, like a timestamp to show when that actually happened. He showed the conversation and shows who it's with, or the one side of who it's with, which is Mark Cohen's, one of Mark's like 2 or 3 Reddit accounts. To me, but it doesn't tell me a date or a time that it actually happened. So that's kind of where we're at. There's the channel called The Unraveling that has talked about that they are working on getting some of the, like the, what do you call them? Why am I not able to think right now? The 911 logs of the calls that were out to Mitch Westerman's house and to Robert Fortson's house. 911 logs is not the right terminology that I want to use, but I can't. Okay, thank you. He admitted in the comments that I don't think he did. I believe that. I believe Snape probably thinks that he did now, but I don't think he did. I don't think he actually had them. Oh, it's okay. I know, like I said, I get that there's all kinds of people that, like, there's a lot of history between a lot of creators, and I get it. I understand it. I can't and won't pick sides on. I don't have time to go back and research the who's right and who's wrong of everything. So I can't really just go, well, yeah, I'm totally going to pick your side, because I just can't do it. And I'm not going to spend the time to research it. So I don't want to pick anybody's side. I want to try to give everybody a fair chance. I'll be very honest. What I don't like is all the name calling that happens. And it does happen in the Delphi creator community. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think that we need to talk shit to each other to try to get our point across. It's like the 911 log. Like, so whose house the call went to? Yeah, like dispatch logs or the calls themselves or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So that kind of leads us with the timeline on the big points of it. If you want to add in the email stuff, because that becomes the next layer of it, is, you know, the October 2nd, which is one of the things that Sleuthy pointed out when she was on the show. October 2nd, they're requesting the discovery deadline. October 4th, now we know from yesterday that they're requesting, or they're letting Judge Gull and the prosecution know that, hey, we're not going to file for a continuance, and that's it. Like, and then all of a sudden, same day, we have emails going out to random YouTubers with pictures that have supposedly been around since at least August. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. So people can get mad at me. That's fine. I can't do it. There's too much to research when it comes to the actual case that I don't have time to research other creators. Plus, the channel isn't about other creators. It's about cases. So I can't waste my time looking at that. I have to look at this. All right, let's blow this up for you guys. This is something that kind of came out today. And I'm going to say kind of because it's not actually in the filings that you can actually go in and pull it straight out. I believe this was probably sent to Bob Mata and Sleuthy Goosey, and they posted it on Twitter and on Reddit. You'll be able to get this once. Okay, let me backtrack for a second. So we talked about the writs. There's 2 writs that have been filed, 2 original actions that have been filed with the Supreme Court. The first one we know is all the case record, that literally just the case record, and keeping it clean and keeping it put together, and where it's easily accessible by the public. So then, if you have anybody who wants to contribute to that or wants to put opposing information in, you can. And they gave them till the 6th. Sleuthy Goosey. I know. So Bob sent the actual file that it's in. And I wasn't going to talk about it today until I actually had something that I could say that, because I know a lot of people are all over it. And hi, Sleuthy Goosey, by the way, and thank you. But it is. So there's an actual file to it. So you have the first original writ to the Supreme Court for the case record. You have the second original action writ for now to actually have her removed, to have Judge Gull removed. This is what we went over yesterday, and to put Baldwin and Rosie back on the case. Now, same thing. So the Supreme Court says, okay, here's the order. The order is going to be, I think it's the 16th. Anybody that needs to contribute to this with any information for us to make a final decision, make sure that you submit anything that you have by the 16th. So what gets submitted today is, it's a very interesting document. And it touches on some of the things that we've talked about. So I think maybe that's why I find it interesting, because I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So what happens is other people can put information in. So it's called an amicus. So you're going to hear it a couple different ways. It's Curiae. It's a Latin term, because everything that we have in the legal system is essentially from Latin terms. What it essentially means is a friend of the court. So it's somebody who doesn't really have a dog in the fight of the case. Like, they don't have a dog in the fight of Richard Allen's case. They're not there to necessarily represent Richard Allen or to say anything on his behalf. What they're there to do is say the outcome of what's happening here and whatever you guys rule is going to affect us, and this is why. So it can be a person, a group of people. There could be multiple different groups of people. If they feel that what is about to be decided at the Supreme Court it can affect precedent, and everything in court is based on precedent. So if you guys follow the Idaho 4 case, you're seeing a lot of stuff with the IGG, and there's a lot going into that because there's not a lot of court precedent when it comes to IGG, because it's so fairly new and there's not a lot of laws that regulate it. The Supreme Courts have to make the decision in what sets precedent. So when you look at legal documents and you're going back and it cites this case number or that case number or whatever, what it's doing is citing precedent that's already been decided by other judges or Supreme Court justices. So that's a big deal. And if a judge or a Supreme Court makes decisions that can change the precedent, then further down the line, what happens in court will change. Oh, thank you, Lone Pony. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's just a friend of the court, like a third party that's supporting the argument, or they kind of have their own dog in the race of what's happened, or their own dog in the fight of what's the outcome is. I hope that kind of makes sense. They don't necessarily aren't worried about Richard Allen himself. They're worried about the entire thing, because whatever the Supreme Court decides is going to set precedent for what happens to them in the future. So that's what we're looking at right now. So it's an amicus in support of the relator's petition for the writ of mandamus. So they're saying, we agree with the other attorneys who are coming in and saying that Judge Gull cannot do these things. Now, the interesting part, well, it's all interesting, but a really interesting part is this is actually on behalf of the Indiana public defenders. So the public defenders themselves, or, this office, the Indianapolis Office of Public Defenders, is coming in and saying, hey, what happens here is going to affect us all. Right. Yeah, justice fighters. Here, so even if she recuses herself now, she still has to face the other one. I mean, she can't get out of both, because this is about her decision making. She has to deal with it. They're not going to just go, okay, well, she recused herself and it's done. I mean, it'll take care of that portion where they want her gone, but the Supreme Court's still going to have to make a decision. And this is why it's also becoming a bigger deal that she did go get her own attorneys. Yeah, friends of the court. Perfect. Yep, exactly. So I'm just going to get right into it, because now we've spent a lot of time talking about the other stuff. But this is important. I hate to say I hope so, but man, I really hope so. This is also important because you now have more attorneys in her own state that are coming and saying the things that she is doing are not supported by essentially the lawyer handbook, if you want to just break it down. You know, the codes that govern what lawyers can and cannot do, what judges can and cannot do. So here can you guys see this? Okay, I'll blow it up a little bit more. I don't want to blow it up too big because then I won't be able to read it. So in the interest of the Amicus Curiae, the Indiana Public Defenders Council mission is to improve legal representation provided at public expense in Indiana state courts. This mission is fulfilled in part by providing research, training, consultation on strategy and tactics. IPDC is also mandated to assist in the coordination of the duties of the attorneys engaged in the defense of indigents at the public's expense, and maintain liaison contact with study commissions, organizations, and agencies of all branches of local, state, and federal government that will benefit criminal defense as part of the fair administration of justice in Indiana. Essentially, we all know what the Public Defender's Office does. IPDC is well positioned to address the importance of independence of the defense function, a topic at the core of the work it does. IPDC's interests are aligned with the relator, Richard Allen, in raising concerns about the removal of his court-appointed counsel. However, this brief intentionally focuses narrowly on independence concerns, kind of what I was saying earlier. The council is committed to supporting appointed counsel, whomever that may be, as this case continues. So they're saying, we don't have a dog in that fight, but we have a dog in this fight. Summary of the argument. Indiana has long been a leader in providing appointed counsel and in recent decades has made strides to preserve counsel's independence from the judges before whom they appear. The removal of appointed counsel for broad or vague reasons undermines the independence of the defense function and extinguishes a long-standing rapport with a client who must now languish in prison for an additional 9 months. Moreover, after removal of counsel, replacement counsel should have Amicus. Should have been. I'm like reading straight down. Should have been selected according to the Carroll County plan from a list of qualified attorneys approved by the county's public defender board, or by referral to the state public defender for selection of replacement counsel. Essentially, what we were talking about the other day. These new attorneys should be coming out of Carroll County, as people and as cost. Appointing counsel from Allen County, especially the chief public defender of that county, deprives Indiana's third largest county of the leader of its public defender office and raises the prospect of loss of reimbursement for Allen County if commission standards are not met. The argument is this case raises significant concerns about the independence of defense counsel and the public defense structure designed to ensure it. And if you guys aren't familiar, the public defender she's talking about is Librado, because he's actually in charge of that public defender office. She's been a judge for, shoot, I looked this up too. I don't want to say because I'm going to be wrong. I have too many other things in my head. I don't want to pull that out. Rashawn will likely take a plea deal unless he sees a clear way out. All this judge is doing is giving Allen a way out. Doesn't mean he's innocent. Exactly. This is huge. The people calling anyone supporting this Richard Allen cheerleaders are clueless. Because that's what it comes down to. Is I have no dog in the fight whether Richard Allen is innocent or not. I don't have an opinion one way or the other on that necessarily yet. But I do have a very big opinion on him having a fair trial, and I really hope that the families have an understanding and somebody's telling them the legal side of what's happening and how much this could, not that it will, but it could prolong everything that they're doing with the court system. But that's neither here nor there. And I hope that you cannot have justice for Abby and Libby without having a fair trial for Richard Allen. You can't just go, nope, sorry, Richard Allen, you suck, we hate you, we think you totally did this, and now we've got justice. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, so the independence of defense counsel and the public defense structure is designed to ensure it. The removal or replacement of appointed counsel must occur in a manner that ensures the independence of defense counsel. IPDC is also concerned that the removal does not undermine the public defender structures in both Carroll and Allen counties. Indiana has been a leader in public defense and the independence of defense counsel. In many ways, Indiana has been a leader in providing representation to those unable to afford counsel. For example, more than a century before Gideon v. Wainwright, this court held that indigent criminal defendants had a right to counsel provided at public expense. For most of Indiana's history, trial judges appointed counsel and required their compensation from the county treasury. But a deep and persistent concern was the lack of defense counsel's independence from the court. Many people have said this for many years. Well, since they're public defenders, they're paid from the state. They might as well just do what the state wants them to do, right? I mean, they're all in the same seat. They work for the prosecutors. That's what it is. So this is essentially saying we fought really hard to get away from that, and you're bringing it back by saying that the prosecutor can go ahead and just pick the defense team. For most of Indiana's history, trial judges appointed counsel and required their compensation. I already read that, but a deep and persistent concern was the lack of defense counsel's independence from the court, because defense counsel's employment relied upon the judge. It was thought that the counsel might be reluctant to represent his or her client as vigorously as necessary for fear of alienating the judge. The American Bar Association, among other groups, has long emphasized that the critical importance of public defenders' independence. The very first of the ABA's 10 principles of public defense delivery system, which provide guidance on how to create a well-functioning and constitutionally sound public defense system, is that the public defense function, including the selection, funding, and payment of defense counsel, be independent. That's from the Indiana Task Force of Public Defense. Dun, 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 dun. Under this principle, the public defense function should be independent from political influence and subject to judicial supervision only in the same manner and to the same extent as a retained counsel. There you go. In Johnson, this court traced the history of the Public Defender Commission and other legislative efforts to protect the independence of appointed counsel. In 1989, the General Assembly created the Indiana Public Defender Commission, which began a series of reforms to improve indigent defense services. The commission's original mission was to make recommendations concerning providing indigent counsel in capital cases, most of which were adopted by this court, which is the Supreme Court, in Indiana. The Public Defender Commission is an entirely different entity from the Public Defender Council, which filed this brief, and the state public defender, who is mentioned throughout this brief. A helpful comparison. It just tells you where, the different alignment of which public defenders belong, kind of the commission, the council, so on and so forth. In 1993, the General Assembly authorized the commission to offer state reimbursement to counties for the cost of indigent defense in non-capital cases. You guys have heard this for a long time, that public defenders, they have their salary, so that's kind of just their job. But judges can pull in private attorneys and make them essentially do public defender work, and they have to do that work for public defender pay. So depending on where you're from, it's a different quantity, or that's kind of like required, or sometimes you're thrown into like a almost like your name's thrown in a hat and you're just kind of picked, like, oh, you're next. Oh, you're next. And that's just kind of how it goes. Each area has their own way of doing that. But no matter what, they get paid. They get paid public defender wages. So if they're like top of the line, criminal defense attorney that makes, $700 an hour, they're coming in and having to do their public defender job at, the $90 an hour. And I know I'm making up numbers. I have no idea if those are real. Jen Lou always tells me I need to do better at like making them bazillions, because people actually think that like 90 is what people get paid. But that's, neither here nor there. Anyway, in 1993, the General Assembly authorized the commission to offer state reimbursement. with the standards established by the commission. To qualify, a county must establish a county public defender board, which appoints indigent defense counsel at the public's expense for all persons financially unable to obtain a lawyer without substantial hardship to themselves or their families. Appointed counsel must satisfy certain experimental and training requirements, which vary depending on the seriousness of the charge. An appointed counsel's caseload must be limited to a specified amount. The commission standards also govern appointed counsel's compensation. Counties that comply with these standards are reimbursed for 40% of their indigent defense costs for non-capital cases. Unlike the capital defense program under Criminal Rule 24, the non-capital program is optional. Though the commission reports that it has approved comprehensive plans for 58 of Indiana's 92 counties, and 50 of those counties are eligible for this reimbursement. Indiana's reform of public defender services has been lauded by the American Bar Association, legal scholars alike. Undoubtedly, one of the most important reforms for non-capital cases was ensuring the independence of defense counsel by transferring the duty to appoint counsel from the judges to the county public defender boards. Such independence protects the integrity of the attorney-client relationship. You guys see? So it should have been, these new attorneys should have been picked by the public defender board and not by Judge Gull. Can you start over? I lost Wi-Fi. I don't know if my voice could hang that long. As noted in Johnson, trial courts retain some ability to appoint counsel outside of a county's comprehensive plan in limited circumstances. Appointments outside the approved plan may affect the ability to seek reimbursement from the commission. First, under Indiana Code, a judge may appoint counsel outside of this plan when the interests of justice require. A court may also appoint counsel to assist counsel provided for under the board's plan as co-counsel when the interests of justice require. However, expenditures outside the plan are not subject to reimbursement from the Public Defense Fund. Amicus, why do I keep doing that? Subsection B provides a better route that protects both independence and the reimbursement. A judge may make a written request to the state public defender to provide a qualified attorney for the defense of a person charged in the court with a criminal offense and eligible for representation at public expense if the judge determines, 1, that an attorney provided under the county public defender board's plan is not qualified or available to represent the person, or 2, that in the interest of justice, an attorney other than the attorney provided for by the county defenders board plan should be appointed. The Indiana Code, when the state public defender makes the selection, the county is entitled to reimbursement from the Public Defense Fund. Under a separate statute, appointments of counsel by the state public defender are subject to the concurring appointment of record by the requesting judge. So that's all the code, like they're talking all the codes. The ABA's 10 principles have been updated since this court decided Johnson. They now provide that public defenders should be subject to judicial authority and review only in the same manner and to the same extent as retained counsel and the prosecuting agency and its lawyers. That's the 10 principles of public defense delivery system. Here you go. You can look at them there. So essentially what that's saying is, let me see what you guys are talking about in here first. I think you guys are just talking to each other. Julio, AJ Everett. All right, I'm just seeing if you guys had any questions for me. Yep, August, correct. Okay. Let me go back down here to the bottom. So essentially, what they're talking about is because this judge has now picked public defenders out of Allen County when it should have gone to either the board or the commission or the council, I'm not sure which one is which, for Carroll County. So the expenses aren't going to be the same, not to mention they're taking their lead public defender out of the public defender's office to represent somebody from Carroll County instead of somebody from Allen County. So it doesn't, this is why I say like this is going to set precedents, because they've already fought so hard to make this to make the state be able to say, no, the judge doesn't rule the public defenders. The public defender councils and commissions are the ones who act, and the board take care of that. Did I scroll past it? The dogs are starting to wrestle. I apologize. I'll have to probably get him out of the room. Okay, hold on real quick. Okay, so IPDC is unaware of the removal of an Indiana. Let me make sure I didn't miss them. I didn't. Okay, IPDC is unaware of the removal of any Indiana prosecutor under the circumstances of alleged gross negligence. Public defenders deserve the same treatment as prosecutors by the Indiana trials courts. Counsel was replaced without regard to Carroll County's comprehensive plan. The independence concerns raised by removing appointed counsel are exasperated when the process for selection of replacement counsel fails to follow the statutes and structures designed to protect the independence of defense counsel. Carroll County is a member of the Public Defender Commission and has a public defender board and a comprehensive plan. The commissioners of Carroll County adopted an ordinance creating a public defender board back in 2000. The county's plan provides for an assigned counsel system. Under this appointment system, 1, the board shall gather and maintain a list of attorneys qualified to represent indigent defendants. This is where we're talking about like every area has like their own way that they pick who has to go, or like who's next on the wheel to take the next case. 2, upon the determination by a court that a person is indigent and entitled to legal representation at public expense, the court shall appoint an attorney to provide the representation from the list maintained by the board, which Carroll County has their own. The Indiana Code later sections provide for payment and reimbursement of the expenses. Here it is unclear why the respondent is Judge Gull, appointed counsel in a manner inconsistent with Carroll County's comprehensive plan. Immediately after announcing that Mr. Baldwin had orally moved to withdraw and that Mr. Rosie would be filing a written motion to withdraw, the respondent stated, "I will reach out to public defenders to make that appointment." If no qualified Carroll County attorney was able to take this case, the preferred procedure would have been for the respondent court to contact the state public defender for selection of the replacement counsel. Not only would this allow reimbursement in what will likely be an especially long and expensive proceeding, but would also better ensure independence by insulating the selection from control by the judge presiding over the case. See, instead, the respondent reached out to and chose 2 lawyers from Allen County, neither of which is on the Carroll County list, and one of whom is currently serving as the chief public defender of Allen County. Thus, in addition to jeopardizing the possibility of reimbursement for Carroll County, the appointment of Mr. Librato deprives Indiana's 3rd largest county of the leader of its public defender office and raises the prospect of loss of reimbursement for Allen County if commission standards are not met. Mr. Allen and the public paying for his defense deserve better. As a final point, although this brief focuses on statutes and procedures designed to protect the independence of the defense counsel, we should not lose sight of the person most affected. Public defenders do extraordinary, life-changing work every day in courtrooms around the state. Mr. Allen was pleased with the work of his initially appointed public defenders. Mr. Allen and the public that funds his defense should be entitled to more than vague and broad concerns about gross negligence, and that a judge cannot and will not allow these attorneys to represent you. I can't do it, sir. I just can't. Such statements do not engender confidence in the criminal justice system for criminal defendants, many of whom believe that appointed counsel is not a real lawyer, but just a public pretender, or a lawyer who works for the state. When followed, the statutes and decisional law outlined above provide some means to dispel these misconceptions. When not followed, the trust and rapport developed during a full year of intensive representation is lost. And Mr. Allen is left to wait 9 additional months incarcerated in the Department of Correction under conditions that he and his counsel of choice have stated undermine his ability to prepare his defense. In conclusion, the issues presented in this case justify the intervention of this court at this stage to preserve the independence of defense counsel and the integrity of the public defense structures established by the General Assembly. The court can uphold these essential values by reinstating Mr. Allen's initial and desired counsel. In the alternative, the court should direct the respondent court to follow Indiana Code Section 334710, if anybody wants to look that up, by referring the case to the state public defender for selection of counsel. Respectfully submitted. And then here's all your certifications. So I know that was a lot, and there's a lot of like mumbo jumbo with all the statutes and all the codes that are in there. But essentially, what this in the shortest amount of words that I can put together, if somebody said that I had a word limit, the public defender counsel is saying, hey, Fran Gull, you can't do what you just did because it undermines the history of that we fought really hard for in the state of Indiana, and you're throwing it all away. And if the Supreme Court allows that to happen, that means it can happen over and over again because it sets precedent for future trials. And we can't have that because look at what a mess this is causing. She can't go handpick her own people. She can't go pulling them out of Allen County. Carroll County isn't going to get the reimbursements that they deserve for having public defenders, which is part of having their public defender board. And you can't just go doing all that without telling anybody why. So that's why I said they don't necessarily have a dog in the fight whether Richard Allen is innocent or guilty. They're even stating no matter who he ends up with as his attorneys, like we're fine. But the proper procedures have to be followed. Otherwise, this isn't going to work for this case, and it's not going to work for all the future cases where judges just say, sorry, I'll go ahead and pick whatever attorneys I want you to have. It doesn't work that way. So this judge has me confused too. She's a mess. Well, I think that's why she went and got, if she didn't, it's like the same thing people keep saying about Baldwin. If he didn't know that he did anything wrong and he didn't know that he was going there to get in trouble, why did he hire an attorney? And it's like, okay, Fran Gull, why did you, if you didn't do anything wrong, why didn't you just go in and fix the stuff that they want you to fix and on the court record and say, hey, no, I've done everything perfectly correct. So I'm interested if we're going to see more of these before the 16th. And I can tell you if we do, and I wouldn't even be surprised now if we get one, another request for an extension filed by Fran Gull's attorneys saying we need time to prepare for this. Yeah, I guess that would be the shortest word count. Hey, Anthony, I think Gull got caught up in the middle of something she wasn't prepared for. And I think it's interesting because there is the perspective that she was like doing them a favor. Like, you withdrew so that I didn't come in here and find you grossly negligent. And so that there's that perception that there was a favor done there. And I just don't see it that way. And I mean, I respect people who do, but I just don't see it that way at all. She should have said, I'm setting a hearing for the 19th. We'll go through, bring your people, bring your witnesses, do what you got to do. You know, we're going to go through and see if this determines if you guys need to be disqualified or not. And have the hearing. Don't say, hey, come to my chambers beforehand and let's have some secret meeting. And you know, and then I get the whole comments of everybody saying like, well, they could have gone out there in court and just faced it. You know, they could have done that. And I'm like, yeah, they could have. But once again, she's the judge. She should have said, hey, this is what the hearing is for. Bring your people, bring your witnesses, bring your affidavits, and we'll have a hearing that says whether you guys should be disqualified or not. Let's go about it the right way. She's the judge. So why didn't she just set it up to be the right way to begin with? Go in there, show all the proof that you have. You didn't even need to let the cameras in, because I could understand that the cameras wouldn't need to be there for that. You know, one way or the other, I don't know. I think cameras probably need to be there for everything, so I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But she should have just set it up correctly, and we wouldn't even be here. She'd go in there, she'd determine whether they actually committed gross negligence based on precedent and the testimony of the witnesses. And then if she said, I'm sorry, Baldwin and Rosie, I find you guys to be grossly negligent. Richard Allen, I don't know what to tell you here because I am concerned about the representation. And then none of this would be. We wouldn't be doing all of this if she just said, sorry, we're all going to be grown-ups and we're going to go in the courtroom and we're going to do it the right way. Bring your people. That's the thing is she told McClellan to bring his people. Why didn't she just tell the defense team to bring theirs? This would be so over. I mean, they probably still would have fought and, you know, we would see something different, but we wouldn't see it wouldn't be going down like this. So it just doesn't make sense. And now, for whatever reason, she's making it very hard for anybody to get access to the transcripts or the audio from what happened in her chambers. If you didn't do anything wrong, why are you keeping it? Give it to them. Give it to the attorneys that are representing, you know, the writ. They're the ones requesting it. Just give it to them. Tell them it has to be sealed or whatever. I mean, I don't know how that would work because I don't know how it goes from the respondent, because she's technically not the judge of them. She's the respondent and their things. I don't know how that would work, but I'm like, come on, there's got to be something. Yeah, and I think that's what brought me back to Delphi too was as soon as they put we had like almost the exact same timing. I think I actually have a live where I talked about both. Was Ann Taylor fighting to not have cameras in the courtroom, and Richard Allen's attorneys, Bradley, Rosie, and Baldwin fighting to have cameras. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? Something's happening where they want transparency and they want the whole world to know something bad's going on. And that's why they want cameras in that courtroom. The goal was to remove them. I agree. So every day, it's just something else. We got some new documents. I don't know. Does anybody here follow Murdoch? We got some new documents in Murdoch too. I'm going to probably go over those hopefully tomorrow morning. I don't know if you guys follow that case. I'll try to do it in the morning. I'll see what timing looks like. Because I also have to be prepared for whatever happens and drops in Delphi. And I've been trying to get myself caught up. Another case that I have been interested in since it happened is Caitlin Armstrong's case. She's in trial right now for killing Mariah, who went by Mo Wilson. It's a crazy story if you guys aren't familiar with it. I want to cover that case. That chick took off and she was on the run when there was a warrant out for arrest, went and got plastic surgery to try to hide her identity, used her sister's passport. It's crazy. So she's in trial right now, and I want to be able to catch up on that too. Yes, the Armstrong case. It was freaking Delphi. Did I read the documents about Gull finding out about the leaks that came in late? Anthony, which document is there? I think every day I've read documents, so I'm not sure which which one you mean. This is the only document that I know that came out today. Let me see. My dog has a ton of names. He must be constantly confused. All of this has been totally expected. 8th different last name we teaser about it. I would love to hear them. Remember, like at the beginning when like that day happened and everybody was like, "Oh, she was probably just like, come on, you guys, like you have a choice here, and I'm trying to do right by you and not embarrass you." And I'm on here like, no, I think they had a knockdown, drag out fight. There's documents that came out with Gull and McClelland talking about the leaks and unaliving. I think that might be the emails that you're referring to. Is that what you're talking about? The emails back and forth? As far as I know, I don't know if anything new came. I know you are, Delana, and I don't even have time to get to it. That's another case I followed since it happened. Judge Gull not allowing certain documents and not allowing RA in the chambers is what she did wrong. She can remove his appointed counsel. Nah, not without due process. She can't. She has to have, and that's why I said, since she won't release what actually happened in there. See, you came in, and I am going to just disagree with you, but you're welcome to have that opinion. I do not believe this is the lawyers who did this to themselves. Yeah, she could have done things very differently, and we would not be here today where we are. The Delphi debacle. That is a great name. No, I think that if you go back to, this is where about the leak, about the continuous issues, all she had to do was prove gross negligence. And I don't see any proof of it. I don't see any proof of it. Not on the court record, I don't. And that's what's important. It's got to be on the court record. There's no court record of her finding them grossly negligent. It's all very shady. And she just went about it wrong. And I bet she's regretting it now. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so you're saying that, I'm wondering, Anthony, are you talking about the emails between Rosie McClelland and Gull about the leak, where they're talking about that, you know, the 4 a.m. where Nick McClelland messages them, or is there something new that came out that I'm not familiar with? Because that's all I'm aware of. Yep. Not documented, didn't happen. Oh, it's not that I don't believe you. She just has to go about it differently. Does she have the right to ultimately remove them? I think it's hard because in writing, you know, there's so much, and plus there's like a character limit. But she ultimately has the right to remove them as his appointed counsel, but she has to go about it a very different way than she did. She can't just call him in chambers without Richard Allen and without giving them the opportunity for due process. She can't do that. If she had done all that, determined that there was gross negligence, and it was on the record, she absolutely can. So I think it just gets lost in translation of, oh, they should have. Now the dang dog wants back in. I need a whole damn PowerPoint. I know. You guys are coming in. You need to lay down now. Oh, Well, that would have been interesting if they walked into her chambers on the 19th. Like, here you go. We're going to be pro bono now. I just don't think they expected that she was going to do that because it's not the proper procedure to do it. But did Anthony ever answer? I walked away, so I didn't get to see. Teresa, too close to the truth, the brotherhood and the nepotism networks, and they can't have that. Yep. You think she intentionally made it all a mess? Creators was talking about them pics being passed around for a long time, and nobody cared until the 136 pages came out. One of the things I'm trying to do is to figure out if these are the same photos, because even with this mini leak happening right now, they're different. People have gotten different things. What's being sent to people isn't even the same thing. So I can't. It's like. And then I don't even know if, like, that's why I said at the beginning of this, I don't even know if somebody in my position or even all of us collectively, I don't know how we could come up with where it really came from without the people actually just who got them saying that this is who they got them from. You know, we just need so much more. The 16th. So currently, right now, she has until, or anybody who has something that pertains to the second writ has until the 16th to submit, you know, something along the lines of this. Yeah, well, that's why Anthony, that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, like, did they have these photos? Is this a separate leak? Is there, how many leaks are there? What's the information contained into each leak? And then why doesn't Mitch Westerman actually say, I went in there in August to have lunch with my buddy Baldwin and saw these pictures and thought, hey, this would be a good time to do it. Why doesn't he tell us when? Well, all right, you guys, that's the end of that document. Like I said, tomorrow morning I'm going to try to come on. We'll cover the new Murdoch documents. Just going to touch on that, and then see if anything pops off with Delphi tomorrow afternoon, because I'm still trying to put the other things together with the investigators and the family interviews. So we can't walk away yet. It's not over. It ain't over. No fat ladies sung yet. We'll see. So I'm going to wrap it up, though. I mean, I can't even tell you guys, I appreciate you guys being here. Even if we don't always agree on all the things, I really do. I mean, I'm very happy and I'm very humbled that you guys choose to come and spend your time here with me. So I know you guys have 1,000 other places you could be. Welcome to all the new members. Thank you guys, the gifted members, and welcome to those new members. Thank you guys for the super chats. So just know, like, it's okay to have whatever opinion that you want. I just don't want anybody fight. Don't fight with people about other people's opinions. It's really just not worth it, especially when it is an opinion. I'm not going to fight with you about yours, so please don't fight with each other. It's absolutely good to disagree, especially if it's not written in black and white where we can actually see this is exactly what it is. I mean, then it's like, okay, don't be dumb. Like, it's literally right here. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's like, okay, now there's not really anything to argue about. But when it comes to, like, our thoughts, our theories, our opinions on things, we have the right to have those. That's it. Let people have it. Don't argue with them. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I do think that my lovely friend ATS News is live, so I will probably hop over there. Let's see what she's talking about tonight before we leave here. And then she's talking about Ruby Franke. So anybody who follows along with the Ruby Franke case, ATS News, let me put this, I'm going to grab it. I'll put it in the chat for you. If you guys are interested in that case, go hop over to her channel. Tell her I said hi. I'll be there as soon as I'm done with dinner. But I will see you guys mañana. Enjoy your night. Go out on the YouTube streets and show somebody that you don't normally show kindness to. Show them a little bit of kindness and see what happens. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.